Identity and creativity. Identity shifting is often associated with discipline, habits, and goals. We imagine that to transform identity, we must build a solid structure. That is true, but it's only half of the equation. For evolution to happen, there must also be room for creativity. Creativity is the ability to imagine different versions of ourselves, to explore new possibilities, and to test alternative ways of being. In this chapter, we'll explore why creativity is a central driver of identity transformation, how it allows us to experiment with alternative selves, and how to integrate it concretely into the process of change. Identity and imagination, the foundation of all transformation. Before we can become a new person, we must first be able to imagine it. An employee who wants to become an entrepreneur must first picture themselves into that role. A shy person must first be able to visualize what confidence will look like. Someone who wants to embody more wisdom must first design this quality in the mind. Imagination is therefore the inner laboratory of identity shifting. Without it, we remain prisoners of all definitions. Creativity as a playground for identity. Creativity as a playground for identity. Creativity offers a playground where identities can be tested without serious consequences. In art, painting, writing, music, one can explore different versions of oneself without pressure. In play, improvisation, theater, social roles, one can temporarily embody other identities. In personal innovation, new routines, new styles, one can test what feels authentic. This process of play is fundamental. It allows exploration without judgment, freeing us from the belief that there's only one valid way of being. The identity laboratory, testing to become. Identity change cannot remain theoretical, it must be tested. Creativity provides the space for such tests to occur safely. Examples: someone who wants to be more expressive might enroll in an amateur theater class. A person who wants to be more confident might experiment with a new clothing style. A future leader might start a volunteer project to exercise his skills. These creative experiments serve as proof, strengthening the emergent identity. Fear of ridicule, a barrier to creative identity. One of the greatest obstacles is the fear of judgment. Many hesitate to try a new way of being because they are afraid of looking ridiculous. Yet, it is precisely in crossing that line of discomfort that growth happens. Creativity it demands the courage to fail, to test, to step outside the frame. Key to transformation: treat each attempt not as success or failure, but as an exploratory experiment. Daily creativity as a tool for identity shifting. Creativity is not limited to art. It can permeate daily life, trying a different route to work, changing the order of routines, testing a new way of speaking, listening, or expressing oneself. These micro experiments expand self perception, showing that identity is not rigid but capable of flexibility and innovation. Practical exercise: the creative alter ego game. Invent three different characters you could embody. Example: the leader, the artist, the explorer. Choose one and play that role in a real situation in your daily life. The notebook of possibilities. Each evening, write down three alternative versions of yourself that you would like to explore. You don't need to believe in them. It's about stimulating your imaginative identity. The experimental week. For 1 week, choose a small behavior reflecting a new identity. Speaking louder, smiling more, trying a different outfit. Observe both external reactions and your internal feelings. Creativity and the unknown. Creativity always involves a degree of uncertainty. You don't know if the experiment will work, but it is precisely this unknown that opens the door to growth. Every time you embrace the unknown, you prove that you can go beyond the limits of your current identity. Identity, creativity, and social innovation. Identity creativity is not limited to the individual. Within group and organization, it allows entire culture to be redefined. A company can shift from rigid and hierarchical to innovative and collaborative by experimenting with new modes of functioning. A community can reinvent its collective identity through creative projects. It shows that identity shifting, whether individual or collective, is always an act of creativity. Common pitfalls to avoid: comparison. Identity creativity is personal, it should not be measured against others. Seeking perfection. Exploring a new version of oneself involves clumsiness and awkwardness. Giving up too quickly. A new identity does not become integrated through a single experience. It requires multiple explorations. In conclusions, creativity is an essential key to identity shifting. It allows us to imagine new versions of ourselves, to test them without fear, and to transform daily life into a laboratory of evolution. Without creativity, identity shifting risks becoming rigid and limited. With creativity, it becomes fluid, joyful, and infinite. Ultimately, transformation is also about learning to play with your possibilities.